Hello students, welcome in this new session, and in the last two sessions we rigorously discussed about learning theories and how learning is important in organizational working and how organizational behavior discipline can help us to practice the principles, theories and frameworks of learning for betterment of organizational working. So, we understood that. After understanding all that, now our new topic is individual behavior. Organizational behavior involves both the individual behavior and the group behavior. So, in some of our past sessions, we have already understood about group behavior. Basically, organization is a social entity. Social entity means people working together. When a group of people working together, or whenever it is a group of people, that is element of society, that is a part of society. So, because of that, social organization, also known as your industrial organization, and in the industry people working there have both the individual behavior as well as group behavior. Whenever we try to understand the individual behavior, this is discipline of psychology. When we try to understand behavior of people in group, that is sociology. And yes, the behavior of individual without impact of other, or when a person is working individually, behavior will be different and unique. Otherwise also, whatever is number of people existing on this earth, all they have their different and unique behaviors. But if the same individual is working in the group, as a result of impact by the behavior of others, the behavior of this individual gets changed. So, individual while working individually, individual while working in the group, individual while working in the group, but again having importance of the individual working. So, these are different domains of understanding the individual behavior. Simply understanding individual behavior is how employee or individual behave, respond or replies to the external environmental stimulus as well as to the intrinsic or internal stimulus. Basically, there are only two things in this world. Number one is individual and number two is environment. Environment includes everything. Even the individual is also part of environment, but because of consciousness, because of uniqueness, because of difference, individual as a result of conscious feels himself different from the environment, and the environment involves the social, the cultural, the physical, the geographical, technical, all different kind of factors of environment are there in that, and all these factors have impact on individual. So, individual behavior is how an individual respond to self as well as to the environment whenever there is any stimulus. So, this is individual behavior. This can also be understood as individual behavior is a mix of responses to the external and internal stimuli. As I told you that there can be two type of stimuli, the stimuli which is coming from the environment. Again we need to understand that there are only two things in this world, that is organism and environment. So, any stimulus coming from the environment is the external stimulus, whereas any stimulus coming from within or from the individual himself is the internal stimuli. I think we can understand this with an example. Suppose I am thirsty. So, this thirst is internal stimulus. Suppose I want to purchase something. This urge of purchasing something is coming from within. This is internal stimuli. Suppose I am passing through bazaar and I saw a sweet shop, and as a result of that I got attracted and I purchased sweets and I have taken sweets. This is stimulus coming from external environment, or this is external stimulus. So, the stimulus which is coming from the environment is the external stimulus, and the stimulus coming from within is the internal stimulus. And this individual behavior is a way person reacts in different situations. Every individual as we discussed, that is unique and different, and because of this uniqueness in the personality, uniqueness in the behavior, uniqueness in understanding, uniqueness in intelligence, each one has got a pair of eyes, but each one's pair of eyes is different. Each one has got a pair of ears, but each one pair of ears is different. Each one has got different kind of sensations, different kind of activities. All these activities, sensation, perception, imagination, all they are different and unique for individuals. So, how people act or react, how they feel emotions, how they express their anger, happiness, love, people differ from that point of view. Now, why we are trying to understand individual behavior in organizational behavior? We all know very well that behavior has direct impact on the working of organization, and individual behavior when working individually, individual when working in the group, individual when working in the group, but having the individual attitude. These are three domains, and all these three domains of individual behavior has impact on self, has impact on environment, and has impact on other people. And if this impact is positive in nature, then it would be supportive in the attainment of organizational goal. When this behavior is negative, or when this individual behavior is having negative impact, destructive impact, then it will hamper the organization to attain its goal. So, there is need to synchronize the individual behavior with the group behavior for collaborative or team working. Yes, individual behavior, synchronization, coordination for attainment of the goals. If individual's behavior is not supportive, cooperative, coordinated, synchronized with the team, then the effort will go waste, futile, and it will be a kind of loss to the organization. If individuals' behavior is well aligned, cooperated, coordinated, synchronized, mapped and matched with the working of a small team and organization as a whole, then attainment of organizational goal will be very easy. Now, there are specific characteristics of individual behavior, and among them the very first one is multifaceted. Individual behavior is multifaceted and dynamic in nature. An individual behavior is not static in its nature. It is always dynamic, changing at a particular event or while addressing a particular situation or circumstances. My behavior will be X type, whereas if situation has changed, my behavior will also change. How I am behaving at my workplace, how I am behaving with my juniors, how I am behaving with my peer group or horizontal, how I am behaving with my seniors, how I am behaving with my boss, how I am behaving with my family member, my behavior changes with respect to that. So, the individual's behavior is dynamic and multifaceted in nature. And why we need to understand that? If we will not understand the dynamism, reason being the behavior has impact on the team and organizational working. If we will not understand its dynamism or what kind of impact it will create, then the organizational working could not be directed in the direction of attainment of organizational goal. The second characteristic of individual behavior is adaptive and purposeful, especially for the organizational behavior or organizational working. It is adaptive, it is being adapted. Adapted means it is learnt from the environment. It is not innate in the nature. People learn the behavior by observing, by conditioning, by cognitive processing, or it may be any other process. But these individual behaviors are adaptive in nature and purpose. Always a behavior has a typical purpose. Even the behavior is negative in nature, even then it is being expressed, it is being executed for the attainment of a specific purpose. Someone want to steal something, there is purpose behind. Someone want to contribute something, there is a purpose behind that. So, whether it is negative or positive, in both the cases individual behavior is adaptive and purposeful. Next is the individual behavior is influenced by biological, neurological, hormonal and yes, environmental factors. What kind of biological body construction, what kind of neurological capability or functioning individual has got, and what type of hormonal secretions are there. If someone is very aggressive may be positive and negative both. A football player playing on the ground is the best positive aggressive behavior. A person fighting with others unnecessarily, that is an aggressive negative behavior, and this aggressive behavior is as a result of biological, hormonal. If someone want to be happy or someone want to be angry, there is need of different type of hormonal secretions, there is need of different biological states, there is need of different neurological functioning, and there is need of different environmental factors for that. There is something stimuli in the environment which is instigating the organism to be angry or to be happy, and then this anger and happiness will result as because of biological, hormonal and neurological functioning of the body. So, individual behavior is consequence of biological, hormonal, neurological and environmental factors. Also, individual behavior is also subject to individual differences, and these individual differences are the genetic, the physical, the social, the cultural, and all other. So, if genetically each and every one is different, and this genetic difference will have impact on behavior. What kind of hormonal secretion? The hormonal secretion is regulated by the genetics of people. If someone has a very high level of secretion of some of the hormones, the behavior will be regulated. So, genetics is controller of the hormonal secretion, and hormonal secretion is controller of various kind of emotional and mental processes. So, even the personality, what kind of, if someone is introvert in nature and extrovert in nature, the extrovert person will interact with the people, would be more communicative and all that factor, whereas introvert will be reserved, would not be interacting. And if someone is interactive and someone is not interactive, that will have impact on working of people. There are certain organizational situations where person should be introvert, person should be less communicative, but if tendency is highly extrovert and communicative, that may result in the counterproductive work behavior. The next one is expressed in various forms. Individual behavior is expressed in various forms. The same individual expresses on the n number of different forms, and the next one is responsive to stimuli. Behavior is always, basically behavior is the set of action and reactions exhibited or executed by an individual in response of a stimuli. So, behavior is always in response of a stimuli. Stimuli means anything which is disturbing the normal or equilibrium state of individual. So, it is always in response of stimuli. And the next one is individual behavior is cultural and social in nature. Yes, individual is part of family, family is unit of society, then there is clan, or in the organizational functioning, individual is part of a small team, that small team is part of a department, the department is part of a mega operation component of organization and organization as a whole. So, by this way individual, team, department and organization as a whole, and this can exist with the support of a social system and a cultural system. Each and every organization has a set of traditions, rituals, way of expression and dressing senses, all this is culture, and this culture is being affected by individual as well as the culture has impact on individual. And there are certain kind of cultures which are supportive in the attainment of organizational goal, and there are certain culture. Suppose absenteeism is a culture, alcoholism is a culture in the organization. These are negative things and will hamper counterproductive work behavior. So, culture, social influences on the society. In the beginning of the session itself, I told you that individual has impact on the environment, has impact on the group and has impact on the organization. And last one is the individual behavior are observable and measurable. Yes, whether it is positive or negative, constructive, destructive, whatever kind of behavior it is, the individual behaviors are measurable and observable. If individual's behavior cannot be measured and observed, then it is either a mental or cognitive process only. The behavior which has reached to the state of action or reaction, or when individual has acted upon or reacted to something, only then it will be the individual behavior. Now, let us try to understand by taking all these characteristics into consideration, let us try to understand the individual behavior framework. What is that? So, behavior is a function of, it is a function of people, person, environment and organization. Basically, organization itself is part of environment as well as person, but as I told you that to understand the individual behavior, we need to keep the individual separate and environment as a whole, but because we are trying to understand the behavior, individual behavior as a function for environment, because organization is existing in the environment, and yes, for specifically with respect to the organization also. So, behavior is a function of person. Person means what action and reactions I have for my internal and external stimuli. Internal means the innate stimuli and external the stimuli coming from the environment. And in the environment, because we are working in the organization, then how person can affect the organization and how organization, and here organization means the social organizational entity, the people working in the organization. And it is not only the people, even the impact of infrastructure, machine, resources and all these things. What kind of impact? Salary is something a physical as well as virtual thing. So, how it will have impact on individual? So, the individual behavior is function of person, individual's personal behavior, environment, how environment is putting impact on individual, and organization, how organization is putting impact on. So, it is a function of all these, or in simple word, individual behavior is result of dynamic functioning of person, environment and organization, or in more simple words, individual behavior is result of impact of individuals personal actions and reactions and environmental dynamic forces and organizational forces, that is individual behavior of a person working in the organization. Now, there are certain factors which have impact on individual behavior. The very first set of factors is the personal factors, and among the personal factors there are biographical factors and learned factors. The biographical factors are the factors which individual has brought as a result of the genetics, as a result of physical body, as a result of biological functioning, as a result of neurological functioning and as a result of physical body. All these factors have impact on behavior. What kind of genetics individual has brought or has taken from parents, and not only parents, from all the ancestors from past, what kind of genetics is taken, and from this genetics how the physical body has developed and how the various part of physical body, especially the internal organs are functioning, how the brain is functioning, how the heart is functioning, how the lungs are functioning. There is direct relationship of functioning of organization and functioning of individual. Suppose someone has got a severe heart problem. So, some of actions of organization cannot be performed by this person if a lot of physical exercise is involved in that. So, that person cannot be kept on for the organizational working. So, biological factors. Second one is the learned factors. Learned factor means what learning has taken place, what individual has learned. The learning of individual has a relatively permanent change or a relatively permanent impact on the behavior of individual. So, what has been learned in the past, what kind of knowledge, what kind of skill, what kind of behavior individual or what kind of attitude individual carries, that is one of the major factor for the kind of behavior will be exhibited by the individual. Next major set of factors are environmental factors, and among environmental factors the very first one is the economic factors, and these factors have been taken in respect of working of an individual with an environment with an organization. As I already told you that organization is part of environmental factors or environment itself. So, in the environment there is organization, and what are economic factors of the organization, that is employment level. What is individual's employment level, whether person is at the top executive level or at the datum level, what is level or what is position of individual in the organization. Yes, the next factor in economic factor is the wage rates. So, what kind of compensation, what kind of wages are given to the individual, that is also one of the economic factor. If individual's compensation is a very big package of all the different factors of salary, incentives, bonus, fringe benefits and social security. So, wages. And the next is the general economic environment. It is not only the organizational economic, or it is not only the kind of wages or compensation given to the individual. What kind of general economic environment in the country we can compare, what kind of economic conditions are there in Pakistan, in India, in America, in Europe and other countries. That general economic environment is a major factor. And the next is technological development. What kind of technological development? Again, we can compare different countries. So, what kind of technological advancement or development is there? Accordingly, it will have impact on the economy, and that technology will directly have impact on behavior of individual. Next is socio-cultural factors. What kind of society and cultural factors are there, already we have discussed. What kind of political stability and instability has direct impact on organizational working. We can compare some of the duration of Indian economy when it was passing through the unstable political system in the era of Devagowda ji, Gujral ji, and when the government was not stable, government was a combination of number of political parties, and as a result of that the economic condition was not. We can take example of Pakistan also. In Pakistan there is no political stability, as a result of that the economic conditions are. So, political factors are reason for the economic, and the economic factors are responsible for individual behavior. Then next is legal environment. What kind of judicial system and the legal system existing in the country, that is also one of the major factor for the individual behavior. And the last one is the organizational factor, and the organizational factor means what kind of physical facility, infrastructure and organizational structure, its design, what type of leadership and what kind of award system is there. These are also some of the factors. So, with this we will conclude this session here only, and in the next session we will take up anew. So, thank you for the patient listening. We will meet again in the next session. Thank you very much.